Welcome to YLC, the Young Leaders Committee that promotes and grows youth leadership that ensures the future leaders lead from today by educating and inspiring them to soar higher and higher.
Welcome to YLC, the Young Leaders Committee, the platform that educates, enlightens, inspires, and walks young people into leadership from their youth. Young people, your leadership era has started. Waiting for tomorrow might not be a wise idea. We are welcome specially to this particular session in episode 1/19. Our theme has been perception to performance, and the focus in this session is the problems of perception. The problems of perception. We will begin with the sad reality that virtually everything in life has a downside. This is true of perception. Perception is a critical requirement of leadership that greatly affects performance and relationships in organizations. Leaders have perceptions, just as people, both within the system and outside the system. They also have their perceptions. But how well a leader manages these perceptions is critical to the leader's performance, productivity, and progress. Leaders, therefore, need to be sensitive to perception. This is because what you perceive of others, how others perceive you, your perception of your work, your workplace, and the atmosphere of your workplace matter very much and are likely to affect your performance and productivity. Your performance, your perception as a leader, the views you hold, and the opinions you express affect a number of things. And we're going to mention just a few of them. It affects the perception of others. That is, how others view things and view people. It affects the attitudes of others towards you, to their work and the organization. It affects your own attitudes to people, your workplace, and the organization where you work. It affects existing relationships within and outside the organization, which might eventually affect your performance at work. It also affects the decisions reached in the organization. Decisions we know are nearly always products of diverse views brought to the table. Significantly, it affects the style and type of administration that is in place. It affects productivity or output that is possible in the organization. Lastly, it is true that it affects the investment and inputs made into the organization. The challenges that perceptions pose can include issues around interpreting information, biases, and disturbances in perception. The perception of leaders is based largely on their natural, psychological, and sociological traits or backgrounds. Your perception is a product of your ability to interpret scenarios and objects which you encounter or which you are able to visualize. A writer has this to say, that there are perceptual problems which are due to issues with the human brain lobes. Therefore, we counsel you should give due attention to your mental and physical well-being. They matter considerably. On the other hand, there are inbred biases that people have, some of which they may not be aware of. It has been discovered that people bring their own biases and preconceptions to every communication and to nearly every interaction. This has given rise to different communication styles, such as preferring direct or indirect communication, as well as other essentials in the workplace. Apart from this, there are disturbances in perception caused by mental health conditions, which usually are at various levels, as well as neurological conditions. Very, very often, these are not easily identified, and so they are not considered in the organization, but they contribute somewhat to what happens in the organization. It could be strange to think of leaders having permanently skewed perceptions, but it might not be far from the truth. This is a sad reference to individuals with negative psychosocial slants that predispose them to reactions that either retard or disrupt any meaningful progress in their work. There can be no overemphasizing the fact that leaders' challenges could impinge on their perceptions. A leader who repeatedly fails in a particular assignment might assume that every other person will also fail. Many others may fail, but certainly not everybody. The story is told about a ship that had a challenge and diverse engineers were brought to fix it. Incidentally, none was able to get it back. Curiously, the ship owners decided to try a retired and elderly engineer. In just a few minutes, this elderly engineer was able to fix what many others couldn't do in weeks. This calls for humility. Humility in leadership should make leaders not to foreclose challenges as unresolvable. It pays, and handsomely, when leaders recognize their challenges. Leaders generally have limitations. It is sad and unfortunate when they fail to recognize their peculiar challenges and assume that others also have such limitations. This explains, in part, the operational slogan of the parent body of YLC. And the slogan is, "Can be better." This slogan drives us to try various means and methods, as well as various people. We scarcely give up. We scarcely believe that we have reached the zenith. We just keep trying. This makes us sensitive and able to quickly pick the enviable efforts that others make. This is one reason we will counsel leaders to be willing to adapt and effect needed changes in their lives and operations. Leaders should develop hunger for innovation and changes. It's a pathway to excellence and continued improvement of your performance. Don't continue doing the same thing the same way if you expect a different performance output. In just a few words, before we wrap up this session, we want to bring something to your notice. Note that leadership challenges greatly affect performance in organizations. While you work hard at some, new ones may emerge. Refuse to give up. That's the very essence of leadership, which is to solve problems. Thank you very much for watching. Young Leaders Committee is a mentoring group for the growth and stability of young leaders and prospective leaders. It promises potentials and opportunities for encountering all classes of young people and turning them around for excellence. Registration has commenced. The earlier you get registered, the brighter your chances. You can use the link on the screen or visit our website www.gedamconsult.com to register. It's free. Thanks again. See you at the next session.